Scary. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the BOCC work session and staff update meeting. Today's date is July the 16th, and the time is 9:55 a.m. We will take attendance, beginning with Mr. Hirsch.
Brendan Hirsch, County Attorney's Office.
Peters.
Zach Swearingen.
Miles Lucero.
And thank you to everybody else in attendance. First up, I asked again to bring forward the fallen officer memorial conversation and asked Mr. Davenport to come in and just give us a high-level overview, which I know that you guys have asked for as far as past contributions, who has contributed, what monies is still owed, and just kind of a brief history on it. So thank you for coming in.
You betcha. Thank you for the opportunity. And just to digress for a moment, Amanda was a rock star when she was at the city. It's not shocking that she's doing a great job of leadership and creating consensus in this time of crisis, as are a number of the sheriff's deputies. Great communication from some of them. The sheriff sends his regards. He's certainly tied up with that, as was the chief of police. I chatted with him earlier. So just in an effort to give you a 10,000-foot view, we have engaged in this effort since about 2020. There are 20 police officers or law enforcement officers that have lost their lives in the line of duty in the county of Pueblo. So to that end, we've come up with the idea of a fallen officer memorial in order to create a lasting, appropriate memorial. It certainly takes some funding, and we've engaged in that funding for some time. The location of it is at the HARP Authority. We went through their process to get public approval and their approval for the site. The site is, if you recall, where the old band shell was that the wind did damage to. There's a nice little opening there. There is a sign there if you care to take a walk around lunchtime. It's a great place to go. There's a sign there that sort of shows a rendering of what the site would look like. And we have a contractor, grade line contractors, that they've come up with a great plan. Total project cost is about $390,000 for construction materials. That may increase a bit. That is at least 6 months old, and costs only go up. However, our current balance is about $135,000. The source of those funds are fundraising that the foundation has engaged in. The organizations, the employee organizations from the sheriff's office, specifically the sheriff's assistants for employees, have brought forward right around 15 to 20,000. The Pueblo Police Benevolent Association has brought in about 30,000. We've written some grants. The Robert Hogue Rawlings Foundation gave us 10,000. Pueblo Rotary 43 and their foundation has come up with the same number. The Rustlers, who we will see in the next couple of months, and several of those members have donated some significant dollars. And most recently, the city of Pueblo has come up with a $215,000 towards the project. And I've got news last night that Pueblo Urban Renewal Authority has authorized $25,000. So we're getting in the ballpark. We're getting close. We've got to get there. I think the officers that made those sacrifices and their families certainly deserve this place. I would submit, as I did the last time we chatted, it's a good recruiting and retention tool. Law enforcement's a difficult thing to recruit and retain. Over the last several years, I would submit to you that I think this would help in that regard. So I think the organizations have stepped up to the plate, a number of public entities, and so I'd certainly entertain any questions if you had any.
Well, I just want to say thank you for spearheading the effort, Chief. I think it's an important contribution to our community. And the fact that you've been able to gather so much support. I've been to the location where it's proposed. I think it's a perfect spot. And I really think it's something important to Pueblo to have. So I wholeheartedly support the effort. Of course, I know we're here to talk about funding and how we can help you with that.
Sure.
But in terms of what you've been able to do and accomplish with it, it's a beautiful idea for our community to have a place that is on the Riverwalk, and really is in the heart of our city. So thank you for all the work you've done. I know you've put in countless hours on
My
this
pleasure.
project.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I just want to be clear, sir, the remaining balance to achieving full funding at that 390 level is about $135,000. Is that remaining?
Yeah, no, maybe I misspoke. I think we're more in the neighborhood of about 50 or 60. We, through our own efforts, raised 135,000.
Understood.
And so I think that's where I may have created some confusion.
Okay, closer to 50 to 60 remaining to fully fund the project and move it forward.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So it sounds like one of the options that was raised was using 1A dollars to do this, which I believe is a great idea, assuming our legal department clears it. Have you, Mr. Hirsch, had an opportunity to
I
vet
have looked
that?
into it. Staff recommended some potential ways to utilize those funds. I think it needs to be explored more, so not prepared to answer that today. I think it's still on the table and a possibility, and maybe next week we can have that answer for you.
Okay.
Fully.
So we have used 1A funds for grant match in the past for certain projects. I think this would be a similar model for this specific project. And that is something that I would be fully in favor of because we need to get 1A dollars spent. It's for public improvements. You know, there was a specific list of 1A projects when the ballot measure passed. So I think we need to honor what the voters intended when they passed that ballot measure. However, if we get a legal determination that this is a legitimate use of the 1A dollars, then I think really it's a no-brainer and something that I would like to see go forward. Can I ask you, sir, is if an outside entity wants to write a check to help fund this project, is there an organization like a 501c3 set up for this specific purpose?
Yeah, great question. We operate under the SAFE organization at the sheriff's office, and we have our own foundation and board. So if somebody wanted to do something like that, they could write a check to the Pueblo Fallen Officer Memorial Foundation. I'd be glad to accept that, and we'd get it deposited in the right place.
Maybe we can have Anthony post that again. I know that you guys have done a phenomenal job, obviously, of going out and raising funds, but I mean, people, forget things or they haven't seen them, or you get people that move here or whatever the case might be. So it might be worth, reposting that, if you will.
Sure. And I might add that at the end of the project, when it's built, we will need a much smaller stipend, which we have plans for, because there will be maintenance, upkeep expenses, and then fortunately, at some point, there's going to be another name that goes on that wall, and we'll have to add that.
I think the decision point is right now we're kind of talking about general fund dollars. If we can't get the 1A to come through, then we're talking about general fund dollars. As we all know, general fund dollars, really, there's no extra general fund dollars available. So if we can shift this cost to another fund that doesn't hit general fund, that's definitely the strategy I would want to work toward. So I think if we can get that legal determination, we can probably get this settled relatively quickly.
Yeah, so I've asked Brendan about it and he's looking into it, obviously. And it was just for clarification, and Troy, you may not, you may have some different numbers, but what was consistently presented to us was 40K
Yes.
to get it across the finish line. So that's what we've been operating on. Again, we still have, as we've said, we have ATOE money, but just because we have something allocated in a line item does not mean we need to spend it, because as everybody knows, we're not in the best of financial situations. And again, with the fire, it will, no matter how much we get reimbursed or paid back, we're still going to owe on it in more ways than one. So I think we get clarification, legal clarification, hopefully as soon as early next week, and then we can make that decision. But I think that this board is certainly in favor of getting you that remaining amount, or $40,000, to get it across the finish line. So,
Good.
thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thanks,
for being
Chief.
here.
Yeah.
We won't
I-
drag you back in.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said we won't drag you back in without an answer.
I walked here, I'll walk here again. That's not a problem.
I felt bad. I told him, I was like, 9:15.
Yeah.
Just hanging.
Well, it's a
out, but-
little warmer on the way back.
Yeah,
but,
that's true.
At any rate,
That's
I'll
true.
just throw out a bone to Josh Johnson too. I mean, what a guy that knows every procedure, every policy there is, and uses it to Pueblo County's
Yeah.
advantage every time. So good job, Josh.
Well said.
And does it with a smile on his face.
Most of the time.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, you can't always have a smile on your face.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Chief.
thank you. Appreciate it. Next up, we have operational updates. Does anybody have any updates?
I do, Commissioner. I think we're getting to the point, we're over halfway through the year. We probably need to make a call on our CTF dollars. That's the spreadsheet that's in front of you right now that
Mhm.
Ms. Hobson presented a couple weeks ago. It looks like it has slightly changed. Is there anything you'd like to speak to in regard to your updated list? It looks like some of the staffing costs have gone away. Do you want to give us a quick update and we can deliberate a little bit?
Correct. So as Commissioner Lucero said, we did remove the staffing portion, which was suggested at the last time we've met, which was, I want to say, the end of June. And then we did move a couple items up from the bottom to the more relevant time due to budget. We're still waiting for final confirmation from the finance office, but we believe we're approximately $550,000 in CTF funding remaining. And that's where our projections come from. Now, we can maneuver back and forth as we maybe get discount on items, or as costs go up, some would move down. But this is our projection of what we'd want to start with.
Is it fair to say that the numbers you have in here are conservative estimate, the high-end estimates of what these
Correct.
projects will cost? So
That is absolutely correct.
Okay.
Our goal was to be a little bit over, and then that way, if we have extra funds, we can then move down the list.
And can you talk about, like, let's say we get the green light today on these 5 projects listed, how quickly do we have vendors in place to pull the trigger and get going on these things?
The goal is to immediately start getting the bids out and even sole sourcing some. The main one we want to look at is McHarg Court, which is inside McHarg Community Center. This court has been damaged for over 3 years by a water leak issue, and we've actually had kids trip on it due to the tape stickiness. So that is our main one. Fulton Heights Community Center as well. That one has a playground that's damaged. The tornado slide in particular, that slide cannot be replaced due to the age of the structure, which was put in 1997, so we need to do a full replacement there. And then we go on to the recreation concession stand. That was designed in our original plans when we opened the rec center to add in a concession component in the main office, which would include a commercial fridge. We'd have a freezer there and some storage in that main office. Scoreboard and equipment, which has been damaged. The scoreboard in the gym doesn't work anymore. The basketball hoop has some issues. We need to fix the cables on that. And then the irrigation seed for the complex as we move forward now that we have a tap. Those are our main 5 projects. Like I said, it would depend on pricing. If we have extra fund, then we would move down the list.
Okay.
Probably to some of the lower ticket items like the trailers. Yeah.
Excuse me, sir?
Abe nodded
Yeah.
his head up and down.
Okay.
so-
Yes, the goal would be to go to the trailers. Some of it, like the landscape trailer, would help us maneuver the lawnmowers back and forth from our office, for example, here to the courthouse.
So I like this list. I think those courts at McHarg are vitally important, knowing that we have a Boys and Girls Clubhouse over there and we have kids in there every single day, basically. I think that's really important. So I'm supportive of this list. I'm ready to give the green light. And, you know, the reason that these CTF funds are different are because they are guaranteed. They are not general fund. We couldn't just do a transfer into the general fund and offset, you know, day-to-day county operating costs. These CTF funds are specifically designated to help with parks and recreation, community type of things. And we did agree to give the zoo $100,000 of our CTF fund allocation for this year. I wanted to ask you, ma'am, is there anything you can think of where the CTF funds could offset some of the immediate costs we're experiencing with the fire?
Unfortunately, they're so designated by site location, it has to be a designated park. One of the things I would say is, for example, we've had to maneuver fridges in for the evacuees. The future concession would actually handle all of that. And we have been looking deeply at the Aspen Acres paperwork and trying to offset, seeing if we can get any financial return in that. We actually just made a note, some of our programming and stuff, we needed to figure out what form Josh needed us to fill out.
Okay.
Rental.
I just didn't know, enough of the fine print of CTF funding where could we pay for $100,000 worth of waste disposal for a week,
Unfortunately, no, it has to be directly tied to operations of Parks and Recreation. So mowers, golf carts, that type of thing, the tilt trailer, as we just mentioned, the landscape trailer, those could be acquired through these funds. But anything outside of that, if it's not Parks and Rec related, cannot be used.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm commissioners, I'm good with this list. I think we need to, give the green light and make sure that we are not losing out on these dollars through the remainder of the year. And I think it's a great list.
Yeah,
Agree.
agreed.
Let's move on.
Yeah. It's your suggestion. You guys know more about it than we do, and we appreciate you always keeping us in the loop on your needs. Okay, so yeah, I think we're good to go on the CTF funds.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else?
I do not believe so, sir.
No? Cool. That'll leave us with a request for executive session. Mr. Hirsch.
I'm requesting executive session to hold a conference with the county attorney to receive legal advice on specific legal questions pursuant to CRS 24-64024B regarding the distribution of marijuana excess tax scholarship funds, county departmental reorganizations, restructuring or reporting structures, overtime and/or hazard pay for county employees, and the roles and responsibilities of the county in response to the Aspen Acres fires, as well as to determine positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing a strategy for negotiations, and/or instructing negotiators pursuant to CRS 24-64024E concerning state and federal contracting requirements for emergency financial assistance eligibility.
Thank you. I will ask for a motion to go into executive session for the reasons cited.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we're in executive session.